In this exercise, I'm going to build a very simple package that uses a for loop container to increment a package level variable 100 times, and then display the final value in a message box. This is obviously a contrived example, but it provides all that you need to explore the breakpoint features in integration services. All right, I'll create a new project. I'll give it the clever name of breakpoints. And as usual, I'll rename the package same as the project. All right, next thing I need to do is create a variable. So I'll open up the variables window and add a new variable. And I'm going to call this counter, because that of course is what it is. And I'll leave it package scope and data type to int32. Okay, done with that, so I'll close that window. Now I need to add a for loop container. Drag that onto my control flow. And I'll double click on it to configure it. And I need to set the values of the loop properties. So the initialization expression, I'm going to set the counter equal to 1. I'm going to evaluate whether or not the counter is less than 100. So that's going to determine how long the loop continues executing. And then the assign expression is going to be @counter equals @counter plus 1, because I want to increment it each time through the loop. All right, that configures that. And that's all I need to do with the loop. Now I need a script task. Come over here and add that. Because I'm going to use this to display a message box at the completion of execution. And I'll select the for loop and connect the precedence constraint like that. Then I need to configure the script task. And in this case, I need to access that counter variable. I'm not going to change it. So I'll just type in user : counter. Or I could select it from the list, from the ellipsis button there. Okay, that's all I need to do before opening up the script editor. And I'll just add a single line of code here that'll display a message box. And it's going to use the value of that variable. So I'll use the variables collection there. And convert it to a string. Oops, so I need the closing parentheses there. Okay, and I'll leave the task result setting to success. And I'll close the Vista editor and close that editor dialog box. All right, I'll go ahead and execute the package to make sure it works okay. There it starts. Loop counts through 100 times and displays 100. And the package executes successfully. Okay, good. Everything is working as it should be. All right, so say that something seems to be going wrong as the loop executes. So what I can do is set a breakpoint to examine the state of the package as it executes. So I'm going to right-click on the for loop container and select Edit Breakpoints. And that opens up this Set Breakpoints dialog box for that for loop container, or whatever other task that I select or that I right-clicked on. All right, notice there's a lot of different conditions that I can set breakpoints on. The one I'm interested in is this break at the beginning of every iteration of the loop. And as you can imagine, this is something that is specific to the loop containers. Other tasks will have other different kinds of things that you can break on. They're specific to that type of task. Now, it would be a little bit too much to break on every single one of the 100 iterations. So I'm going to change the hit count here, actually the hit count type, from always to a hit count multiple. And that enables this hit count value, and I'm going to change that value to 20. So it's going to break on every 20th iteration. All right, I'll click on OK, and notice that the task now has a red circle, which is Visual Studio's universal indicator of a breakpoint. All right, I'll go ahead and execute the package again. Execute it again. Click didn't take. Okay, and so notice now execution starts. It hasn't completed. We haven't gotten the dialog box, so the script task isn't executing yet. But notice that this icon here has this yellow arrow in the red ball, indicating that it's stopped at a breakpoint. So I can go down here to the locals window. And notice that I have a little bit of information about the status of things, but I can also look at the value of the various variables. Notice that all the system variables are included, but for my interest, the user counter is 20 at the moment. Okay, so I've checked. Everything seems to be fine, working okay. I can click on Continue or press F5 by default, and notice that execution completed or continued again, and now it's at 40. And I can continue to do that. Now it's at 60, now it's at 80, and continue. It's done, and my dialog box is hidden behind Visual Studio, and you can see that it iterated 100 times. I can click on that and end the execution.